Hello everyone, we are from Group 2. We are undergraduate student of Public Administration in Universitas Indonesia. In this video, we will be discussing about economic valuation of benefits and costs and its implementation in Ruang Publik Terpadu Ramah Anak or RPTRA in Jakarta. This video is divided into 5 main parts, which are the economic price of traded and non-traded goods and services, the economic price of labor, the economic price of land and natural resources, shadow exchange rate and conversion factors, and last but not least, the case study. First thing first, let me introduce you to my team, and enjoy this video.
Hello everyone, my name is Dizha Adiwibowoputri.
Hi, I'm Farah Salsabilla Maharani.
Okay guys, so my name is Ilham Andriansyah Alghifari.
Hello, my name is Salsabilla Refia and you can call me Salsa.
Hello everyone, my name is Natasya Ulibasa Palasa. So now, we are going to discuss about economic valuation of benefits and costs. It involves converting financial values into economic values. It is also known as shadow pricing. So basically, this conversion requires economic prices which reflect values of goods, services, and other project effects on the national economy. The table shows the differentiation of basis for estimating economic prices. It differs between internationally traded and non-traded goods and services, project outputs and inputs, incremental and non-incremental outputs and inputs. For traded project outputs and inputs, the basis for deriving economic prices is world market prices. In the case of traded outputs, if the project impact is incremental, the export price can be used to derive the economic price. If the project impact is non-incremental, the import price can be used to derive the economic price. In the case of traded inputs, if the project impact is incremental, the import price should be used to derive the economic price. If they are non-incremental, the export price can be used to derive the economic price as they could otherwise be exported. Both export and import prices are prices at the border of a country and need to be adjusted for the transport and logistic costs. These adjusted world prices are sometimes termed border parity prices or BPP. The domestic market price of non-traded outputs present consumers' willingness to pay. When non-traded outputs replace the existing production, they are non-incremental. These non-incremental outputs should be valued at the marginal economic cost saved per unit for the displaced production, which is exclusive of any indirect tax and inclusive of any production subsidy. Non-traded goods and services used as project incremental inputs should be valued at their marginal economic cost of supply, exclusive of any indirect tax and inclusive of any production subsidy. Marginal economic costs will differ between situations where spare capacity exists and only variable operating costs will increase. In this case study, we have chosen RPTRA or Ruang Publik Terpadu Ramah Anak. It is a place with good facilitation for children, especially in Jakarta. This public utility produce is relating to education and environmental protection so that it produces incremental outputs that are non-marketed and there are no market prices.
I will explain about the economic price of labor. The economic price of labor or shadow wage rate or SWR should capture the cost to the economy of employing an additional worker on a project. In general, 3 categories of labor can be distinguished with different implications. For the economic cost of labor, the first is skilled labor that is in scarce supply. Second, unskilled and semi-skilled labor that is in surplus supply and is openly unemployed. Third, unskilled and semi-skilled labor that is underemployed. First, I will explain about the skilled labor of category that is in scarce supply. Consists of workers who would be able to find alternative employment quickly and where supply is fixed in the short term, includes special skills and in vocational, technical or managerial roles. For skilled labor that is in scarce, the actual wage rate paid by the project inclusive of benefits can be taken as its economic cost. Skilled foreign labor can be considered as in scarce supply and its economic price will be the cost of its local consumption at economic prices plus any remittances from the country of employment of the country of origin plus the cost per worker of any additional facilities such as health or educational services that have to be provided for foreign workers and are not included in project costs. And second, unskilled and semi-skilled labor that is in surplus supply and is openly unemployed consists of workers who are in surplus supply and have to spend a long search time between jobs and some never finding full-time work. For workers employed by a project who were openly unemployed, the economic price will be determined by the monetary compensation they will require to take on work. And the last is unskilled and semi-skilled labor that is underemployed. It's likely to be more relevant for unskilled or semi-skilled labor in low and lower middle income developing member countries or DMC with limited state welfare systems and large informal sector in category unskilled and semi-skilled labor. The shadow wage will be determined by the output foregone in informal sector activities in either rural or urban areas as a result of worker employment on a project, plus where migration from rural to urban areas is involved, any additional cost of social infrastructure provision not borne by the project itself. The output foregone can be identified precisely and estimate can be made of the value of production loss using the economic price of the individual output. Okay, so the next I will explain the implementation itself in green open space in South Jakarta. So the first I will explain about the capital expenditure for procurement of construction for part purchase. So the first, we hire professional informant per person. We will be paid Rp1.400.000. We hire 24 person and the wage will be paid per month. So the total for 24 person in a month is Rp36.960.000. Second, budget for supervision consultancy services. First, young group experts. Second, A, with specification bachelor degree with 5 years experience and per person and per month will be paid Rp24 juta. And second, young group experts. Second, B, specification with a bachelor degree with 6 years experience per person or month will be paid Rp18.150.000. And the next is maintenance of green open space in South Jakarta. We hire park worker. We hire 39 park worker for 13 months and per month for per person will be paid Rp3.940.973. And the total is 19.987.733.597 Okay guys, so the next is maintenance of green open space in South Jakarta. We hire park worker. Per person and per month will be paid Rp3.940.973. And we hire park worker for 39 park workers for 13 months. So the total is Rp19.987.733.597 And the next is improvement of park facilities and infrastructure. We hire park worker. Per person and per month will be paid Rp3.940.973. And we hire 20 park workers for 13 months. So the total is Rp1.024.653.000. And the next is capital expenditure for procurement of construction for park purchase. We hire inspector per person per month will be paid Rp7.600.000. We hire 32 inspector and the total is Rp267.520.000. With specification diploma degree and 3 years, more than 3 years experience. And the last is we hire petrol officer for park worker. Per person and per month will be paid Rp3.940.973. We hire 161.
So in this part, we will discuss about the economic price of land and natural resources. Okay. So all projects must be used some of land to build their building. Even there's no financial cost, but it still have the economic value to be estimated and included to the calculation of project economic viability. For other resources, the economic value of land, it should be reflect to their opportunity cost and determined by what the land would have been used for without the project. Estimating the opportunity cost of land directly is different for case to case. So it can be made between changing land used in three types of area. First area is rural area, where agricultural production will be lost. Second area is city area. City area is where a range of service and activity may be displaced. And the third area is a special development zone, where the production structure is changing rapidly and land may have been otherwise largely undeveloped. And for new project in rural area, the opportunity cost of its land will be the net agricultural output before. So by measure the economic price, the kind of approach can be also used for the other area, such as for city edge land, or where the agricultural use are displaced by infrastructure, industrial, and housing project. For a new project in rural area, the opportunity cost of land will be the net agricultural output before, by measure at the economic price. This kind of approach also can be used for the other area. In estimating opportunity cost, the existing land use should be assessed and a land sustainability analysis carried out for the most likely without project alternative. And commonly, a specific product or small product will be selected to represent the lost net output for the land, and it is estimated based on per unit of land and can be made to the total land of area. On the other hand, for some projects that use natural resources, especially for the natural resources that non-renewable, such as oil, natural gas, or mineral deposit, it is also have to include the economic analysis. Why? Because there's an exploitation activity. The economic cost should be included to the economic analysis because these natural resources cannot be replenished, and when it's depleted, they must be replaced by the substitutes. The substitutes itself, such as like import or domestic substitutes, and the opportunity cost that appear from that activity is called by depletion premium. The depletion premium depends on the economic price of its resources in the future. It's added to the economic cost of exploitation to arrive at the full economic cost of using the non-renewable resources. If the resources will not be exploited to exhaustion, the terminal value of the land at the end of the project should be include the economic value of any remaining reserve that are not depleted.
So I will going to tell you about the theories of shadow exchange rate. Traded outputs and inputs will be valued at world prices, while non-traded ones will be valued at domestic prices or willingness to pay. World prices in a foreign currency, usually the US dollar, will have to be converted into a local currency or vice versa using an exchange rate. The shadow exchange rate, or SER, is the economic prices of foreign currency. SER can be defined in the ratio of the value of all traded goods and services in an economy at domestic prices in local currency. 2. The value of all goods and services in an economy at world prices in foreign currency, expressed in the number of local currency units per units of foreign currency. The shadow exchange rate factors, or SERF, is the ratio of the shadow exchange rate, or SER, to the official or market exchange rate, or OER, with both the SER and the OER expressed in the same base year prices used for the project calculation. The SER and resulting SERF are macroeconomic parameters, and their estimation should be done from time to time on a country as part of macroeconomics assessment of individual developing member countries. Exchange rates are one of the key macro prices affecting project performance. If the OER is overvalued, then project producing non-tradables are favored relative to project producing tradables. On the other hand, if the OER is undervalued, projects producing tradables are favored relative to project producing non-tradables. So, for the next topic, I will tell you about the theories of conversion factors. Individual project items can be valued at their individual economic prices, but economic values of project outputs and inputs can also be derived from their financial values using conversion factors, or CF. Conversion factors is a ratio between the economic value and financial value of a project outputs or inputs. So, CF can be calculated at different levels for 1. Specific items, which are important to a project as the main outputs and inputs. 2. Project-specific labor, where labor is an important cost element. 3. Non-traded inputs, which occur in nearly all projects. For example, transport, water, and power, where the supply of these non-traded inputs is expanded to meet project demand. And the 4 is the economy as a whole, such as SERF and a national SWRF. Provided this ratio is assumed constant over a project's life, value at financial prices can be multiplied by this ratio to give the corresponding economic values. Some CF will be project or product specific, while national conversion factors like the SERF are country specific and should be updated from time to time to reflect a country's changing circumstance. Using conversion factors for economic valuation, adjustments such as project benefit and cost are required with financial prices separated into traded and non-traded goods, surplus and scarce labor, and transfer using a set of estimated coefficients. Highlighting and adjusting the categories in this way allow the analysis to focus on what are likely to be the key economics valuation issues for most projects. The extent to which consumers are willing to pay more for projects' outputs relative to what they are asked to pay. The tax and subsidies involved with the projects. The exchange rate is misaligned, and any significant employment effects. The conversion factors can be altered as necessary to test the sensitivity of the projects to what is assumed about the key variables, particularly willingness to pay for outputs and the exchange rate.
So now let's discuss about study case of Ruang Publik Terbuka Ramah Anak DKI Jakarta. So Ruang Publik Terbuka Ramah Anak DKI Jakarta, as known as RPTRA, is non-credit public goods, so you don't need any money to enter the building. And maybe some of you still don't know what is RPTRA, where is it? So I would like to explain a little bit about RPTRA. So RPTRA is a concept of public space in the form of green open space that equips a variety of interesting games and rooms that serve of interest of the community around the RPTRA, such as library space, PKK, lactation room, mart, and the others. So when the RPTRA was built, RPTRA was initiated by DKI Jakarta Provincial Government under the leadership of Governor Basuki Cahayapurnama. So it's around 2017. Well, for example, the Kalijodo RPTRA. In that area also built international skate park, a place of Muslim worship, its musola, and various recreational facilities for children and spots for taking pictures. But unfortunately, in the leadership of Governor Anies Baswedan, RPTRA is neglected and people use it less. It's so different about RPTRA condition in 2017 when this RPTRA was inaugurated. The enthusiastic of Jakarta people was so big and they're really interesting about this building. But now it's changed. While in the leadership of Governor Anies Baswedan, Kalijodo RPTRA is changed into an abandoned place, a place that is not maintained. The grass is left to dry, neglected, the trees are left withered, and the garden lights are left broken. Well, rubbish everywhere, and the cleaners were rarely seen on location, so maybe it's make the RPTRA so dirty and people leave it.
So this is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching, and if you have any questions regarding economic valuation or even RPTRA in Jakarta, feel free to drop your questions down below in the description box so that we can start discuss about it. And I hope this video could be a little example for us to keep sharing our knowledge through social media platforms, because having social media is one of many advantages for us to keep educating ourselves, even our surroundings. And don't forget to stay safe, stay at home, and stay aware. Bye!